Number 10, Devil Dinosaur. Deep in the prehistoric jungles of Earth 78411, a massive crimson T-Rex is currently wondering why his tiny companion keeps trying to explain complex algebra to him. Devil Dinosaur isn't just your average fossil to be. He is a bright red mutant powerhouse with the kind of temper that makes a volcano look like a scented candle. Most dinosaurs are satisfied with eating slow-moving leafy things or the occasional smaller lizard, but let me tell you, Devil has much higher aspirations. He was born in the Valley of Flame, a place that I think sounds like a rejected heavy metal album cover, where he gained his iconic red skin after a nasty brush with fire. That accident didn't just give him permanent sunburn, it gifted him with the level of intelligence that actually lets him understand human strategy. In the modern Marvel era, things get even weirder because he is physically linked to Luna Lafayette, a young girl who is officially the smartest human on the planet, though people online still don't want to accept that. When they swap minds, you end up with a giant prehistoric apex predator that can calculate the exact trajectory needed to crush a tank with its tail. This isn't a mindless beast. It's a tactical genius trapped in a body designed for maximum carnage. He has gone toe-to-toe with the Hulk, and while the Green Goliath usually wins, Devil doesn't back down from a fight. This bad boy can lift multi-ton boulders like they're pillows, and his bite force is high enough to turn armored vehicles into scrap metal. On top of that, he's durable enough to shrug off missile fire and keep moving forward like he's prime Aaron Yeager, for those who know. I think of him as the absolute peak of what a natural terrestrial animal could do when you add a little bit of mutation and a whole lot of prehistoric rage. He is the ultimate guard dog for a genius child, assuming that child has a very large backyard and a way to dispose of tons of dinosaur droppings every morning. Good luck finding a leash that could hold back several tons of angry, red, fire-resistant lizard. Number 9, King Shark. Imagine being the son of a literal shark god and still having to deal with people thinking you're just a big guy in a very realistic rubber suit. King Shark, or Nanau to his friends, if he actually lets anyone live long enough to be his friend, is the kind of aquatic nightmare that actually makes Jaws look like a goldfish. He's a demigod with a divine lineage that gives him physical stats far beyond what any mutation could provide. We're talking about a guy who can lift well over 100 tons and treat the crushing pressure of the deepest ocean trenches like a relaxing day at the spa. While some big lizards are stuck on land, Nanau is a true amphibious threat who can rip through steel doors as if they were wet paper towels. What I think makes it even crazier is that he consistently trades punches with people like Aquaman without immediately exploding into a cloud of red mist. He once bit off Elastigirl's leg, which shouldn't be possible because she's elastic, proving his teeth are sharper than a teenager's sarcasm. He even has a regenerative healing factor that allows him to grow back limbs, which I personally think is a great trick at parties if you don't mind the mess. If someone manages to rip him in half, he just puts himself back together and comes back for a second helping of whoever tried to kill him. He treats metahumans like a buffet line, and he's never been one to count calories when there's a superhero nearby. His divine physiology means his skin is almost impenetrable, and his strength is on a level that allows him to physically overpower beings who can move mountains, which gives me enough reason to put him above Devil Dinosaur. He is a ruthless, intelligent killing machine who doesn't care about your feelings, mostly because he's too busy wondering about how much salt he needs to season your leg. Number 8, Lockjaw. Sometimes the most dangerous being in the room is a giant mustachioed bulldog who can literally blink you into the center of the sun if you annoy him. Lockjaw is the royal pet of the inhuman family, and while he looks like he's waiting for a giant treat, he's actually the most important piece of their entire civilization. He isn't just a big dog. He is a product of Terrigenesis, which gave him the ability to teleport across galaxies and even between different dimensions. If you think your dog is good at finding hidden treats, imagine a dog that could smell a specific scent from across the negative zone. His physical strength is also completely absurd, as he once went toe-to-toe with Ben Grimm, also known as the Thing. Ben Grimm can lift 100 tons and trade blows with the Hulk, yet he struggles against the dog. That is a level of strength that defies every law of biology and probably several laws of common sense, but I think his real power is the battlefield removal move, where he simply stands next to an opponent and teleports them into deep space. King Shark might be a demigod, but I would say it's very hard to win a fight when you're suddenly floating in a vacuum 3 billion miles away from the nearest ocean. Another thing to note about Lockjaw is that he's also surprisingly smart, understanding complex commands and navigating the multiverse with more accuracy than a Tesla GPS. He is the ultimate loyal companion who can also serve as a one-way ticket to a black hole if you forget to give him a belly rub. At least with Lockjaw, you save a fortune on airfare, though the teleporting into a volcano risk is always on the table. Number 7, Cosmo the Space Dog. There is a very high probability that the smartest person on this list is a golden retriever wearing a Soviet spacesuit and a very serious expression. Cosmo was a Russian test animal who got blasted into orbit and hit by a cosmic radiation, which is usually a recipe for a bad day, but instead turned him into a psychic powerhouse. He ended up on Nowhere, a station built inside a severed head of a dead god, where he became the chief of security because nobody wants to argue with a dog who can read your mind. Cosmo's telepathy is so strong that he can hide entire groups of people from cosmic entities and mentally knock out entire crowds of angry aliens. He has even fought Cancer vs. Hulk, which is basically an undead version of Hulk, and managed to hold him down using mental paralysis. While the other animals on this list rely on biting or scratching, Cosmo just looks at you and turns off your brain's ability to remember how to walk. He can perceive thousands of minds at once, making him the ultimate detective in a one-dog army in a psychic war. He doesn't age, he doesn't get tired, and he can speak to you through his own thoughts, which is probably very distracting if you're trying to kill him. That's why I think even a giant teleporting bulldog like Lockjaw would struggle, because Cosmo would simply put him to sleep before he even thought about teleporting away. But let me know in the comments who you think you would win. He is a good boy with the power to rewrite your consciousness, which makes the stay command a lot more literal and terrifying. It's hard to stay mad at a dog who knows exactly what you're thinking, especially when he knows you're thinking about where you hit his tennis balls. Number 6, Gorilla Grodd. If you ever find yourself in a jungle where the gorillas are wearing capes and discussing the finer points of world domination, you're probably about to meet Grodd. Gorilla Grodd is what happens when you take a silverback gorilla, give him a genius-level IQ, and then add enough psychic power to enslave an entire city. He is a primary villain for the Flash, which means he's used to dealing with people who move at the speed of light. Grodd isn't just a mental threat. He's physically strong enough to tear a main battle tank apart with his bare hands and punch holes through reinforced bunkers. What I think makes him truly terrifying is his ability to project his mind onto others, creating illusions so real they can actually kill you. He has mentally overwhelmed the entire Justice League before, which personally is more than an impressive feat considering that team includes a Martian telepath and a billionaire with a plan for everything. In some versions of his story, he even taps into the Speed Force, giving him the reaction times needed to catch a bullet or a very fast dog. He is much more aggressive than Cosmo, using his mental powers like a blunt instrument to shatter his enemy's willpower. While Cosmo is content to keep the peace, Grodd wants to rule the world and probably turn every human into a banana-peeling servant. He combines the brute force of a natural apex predator with the tactical mind of a warlord, making him a double threat that most heroes can't handle alone. He can rip your head off physically while simultaneously making you believe you're a piece of butter melting on a hot piece of toast. Being a super genius ape is great, but it probably makes it really hard to find a suit that fits both your ego and your massive shoulders. Number 5, Captain Carrot. Starting off the top 5 spots with a rabbit wearing a spandex suit and eating a glowing carrot, which might look ridiculous until he survives being flattened by a falling skyscraper and pops back up like a spring. Captain Carrot is the leader of the Zoo Crew, from an alternate dimension where funny animal physics are the law of the land. He gets his powers from cosmic carrots, which give him super strength, flight, and invulnerability for 24 hours at a time. However, the real trump card is Toon Force, a type of reality warping that lets him ignore the traditional laws of physics. If Gorilla Grodd tries to punch Captain Carrot into space, the rabbit might just stretch out like a rubber band and snap back to deliver a much harder punch in return. This, of course, makes him incredibly hard to defeat, because he doesn't take damage in the normal way a normal biological creature would. He could grab the edges of the comic book panel to hide or pull a giant mallet out of thin air just because it would be funny. In a multiverse full of grim heroes, I would say he is one of the most durable beings in existence because you literally cannot kill a cartoon character with conventional means. He has been shown to survive the destruction of entire universes simply because he is a metafictional entity that exists outside the normal rules. While Grodd's telepathy works on logical brains, it tends to fail when applied to a character who operates on slapstick logic and just pure chaotic energy. He's essentially a god of chaos disguised as a rabbit, which personally makes his vegetable-based diet a lot more intimidating than it has any right to be. It's a good thing his powers only last a day because, let's be honest, a rabbit with infinite cartoon logic is basically an accidental cosmic horror waiting to happen. Number 4, Chip. The universe is a big place, but a lot safer when there's a very angry space squirrel patrolling it with a ring that could turn thoughts into solid light. Chip is a Helevanite, which means he looks like a chipmunk but carries the most powerful weapon in the universe, a Green Lantern power ring. This ring allows him to create anything he can imagine, from giant emerald hammers to complex microscopic cages that could stop a human's heart. He's a veteran of the Green Lantern Corps, meaning he survived wars against literal gods and sentient planets, which I think's not bad for a little squirrel. What makes him even more dangerous than a cartoon rabbit is his tactical precision and the sheer scale of his weapon's power. In one famous story, he defeated Superman by using his ring to create tiny constructs that blocked the Man of Steel's synapses, turning off his brain's ability to move his muscles. I'm just going to say that is a level of finesse you don't get from just being strong. It requires a mind that can calculate subatomic strategies in the heat of battle. The ring also provides an automatic shield that can withstand the heat of a star and the vacuum of deep space. While Captain Carrot has to find a character to stay super, Chip just needs a little bit of willpower and a battery shaped like a lantern, which is why I have him above Captain Carrot on this list. He can manipulate fundamental forces of nature, travel through time, and create prison cells that even the strongest beings can't break. He might be small enough to fit in your pocket, but he has the authority and the firepower to arrest a galaxy if he starts acting out of line. If only the rest of the Green Lanterns were this efficient, maybe they wouldn't lose so many planets to guys in yellow pajamas. Number 3, Dex-Starr. If you thought a space squirrel was intense, wait until you meet a blue house cat who is literally too angry to die and vomits acidic blood. Dex-Starr was once a regular cat named Dexter, who saw his owner murdered and was then tossed off a bridge by some cruel thugs. At that exact moment, a Red Lantern ring found him because his heart contained more pure, unadulterated rage than almost any other living being. Red Lanterns don't use willpower. They use hate, and their rings actually replace their hearts, pumping a corrosive red rage plasma through their veins. Dex-Starr can spit his blood at his enemies, and it burns through everything, including the energy constructs of other lanterns and the skin of invulnerable aliens. He earns his spot in the top 3 because while Chip uses his ring to build cages, Dex-Starr uses his ring to turn everything into a puddle of burning goo. His anger is so intense that it could corrupt the energy of other rings, making him the ultimate counter to the Green Lanterns. He has killed dozens of seasoned interstellar warriors, so by now I think you should be impressed. He doesn't care about strategy or mercy. He only cares about making everything around him suffer as much as he did. His small size makes him a nightmare to hit, and his speed is boosted by the red energy to a point where he can blitz experienced fighters before they can blink. He is the deadliest house cat in history, and he doesn't even need a litter box because he probably just incinerates his problems. Number 2, Throg. Deep in the heart of a magical puddle, a human was once turned into a frog and eventually became a god by lifting a splinter of the legendary hammer. Throg, originally known as Puddlegup, a funny name, I know, is a frog who proved he was worthy and now wields a miniature version of Mjolnir called Frognir. This isn't a toy, it is a weapon made of mystical Uru metal that grants him the powers of Thor, the god of thunder. We're talking about a frog that could summon lightning bolts powerful enough to stagger Thanos, the mad titan who wiped out half the universe. Throg has the super strength of an Asgardian, which, relative to his size, allows him to hit with the force of a falling moon. He can fly, control the weather, and his durability is high enough to survive being stepped on by mythical dragons or blasted by cosmic energy. He is a member of the Pet Avengers, but I would argue he's basically the heavy hitter of the group, acting as a tiny green version of the Avengers' most powerful member. This guy isn't just a brute. He has the warrior spirit of a Viking, and a weapon that is literally enchanted to never miss its mark. The reason I'm putting him above Dex-Starr is because, while Dex-Starr is fueled by rage, Throg is fueled by the divine power of the Odin Force, which is much more stable and potent source of energy. He's protected New York from rat armies and interdimensional threats, all while maintaining the dignified composure of a noble frog prince. He is a literal god of thunder trapped in a body that could fit inside a coffee mug, which makes him the ultimate underdog, or under-frog, who knew that the most dangerous thing in Central Park wasn't the tourists, but a tiny amphibian with a hammer and a serious attitude. As dangerous as he is, though, I think you would agree that he is nothing compared to the next guy on this list. Number 1, Krypto the Superdog. If you see a dog wearing a red cape and flying faster than a speeding bullet, you should probably just surrender immediately, because that's Krypto, the strongest animal character in all of comics. Krypto is the loyal canine companion of Superman, and because he is from the planet Krypton, he has the exact same powers as the Man of Steel under a yellow sun. This includes heat vision that can melt steel, breath that can freeze a volcano, and physical strength that allows him to move planets. But what I think makes Krypto even scarier than Superman is that he's a dog, which means his senses are naturally sharper and his reaction times are even faster. He has been depicted as being able to outrun Superman in short bursts and has a sense of hearing that can pick up a heartbeat from the other side of the galaxy. In one of the most famous feats, he attacked Superboy Prime, a villain who was strong enough to punch holes through reality, and Krypto actually bit him and drew blood. That's mental. That is a power that no one else on this list can even dream of touching. He's fought off alien invasions, taken down cosmic warlords like Mongul, and can fly across the universe in a matter of minutes. While Throg has magic, Krypto's so fast he could deliver 1,000 punches before the frog could even think about raising his hammer. He's essentially invulnerable to everything except kryptonite and magic, but good luck hitting a target that moves 10 times faster than light. He's the ultimate good boy. That is, if you're a friend of the L family. If you're a villain, he's a furry tactical nuke with 4 on the floor drive. He is the undisputed king of superpowered animals, holding the power of a sun god in a body that still enjoys a good scratch behind the ears. It's pretty impressive that he could save the world and still find time to chase his own tail at several thousand miles an hour. Well, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers, and see you in the next one.